Hey everybody, it is me, Monty G here, and this is my spoiler review for The Rise of Skywalker. Now, before I begin, I would let everyone know that this is my spoiler review. If you want to see my non-spoiler review, if you've not seen The Rise of Skywalker, we'll leave a card up there for you to watch it because I am going to spoil the movie. So you have not watched Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, watch that video first and don't watch this right now, and then you can come back and watch this video because I will be talking about major plot points that will spoil the movie for you. That's if you really care. But if you do care, you have been warned. Now, overall, based upon everyone's opinion, what I've heard, they have mixed reviews about this movie. Some people enjoyed it. Some people, like myself, thought it was okay, but the story was flat, and some people just outright didn't like the movie at all. And I can understand that. Some of the stuff that I talked about in my non-spoiler review in the movie I enjoyed. Like at the beginning of the movie, when we see Poe, Finn, Chewbacca, and all the others are trying to get this so-called spy, and they're trying to escape the TIE fighters, and then they warp through different places in the beginning of the picture. I actually thought that was kind of fascinating and some good filmmaking, so I will give J.J. Abrams that part. That kind of put the fast-paced action in the movie already. We're already in some type of a danger situation. They're trying to get this information and feed it into BB-8. I think it was BB-8 or R2-D2. I can't remember which one it was. And they feed this information to them, and then they jet off, and they're hyperspeed and light speed to different places. And I thought that was pretty good. Now, another thing I did like about the movie, and I'll talk about this even more, is the different aspects of the planets that they visit to and how well they are filmed and how well the set pieces are. You know, the first planet that they go to when they have to find the, what do they call it? The Sig Finder, I think that's what it's called. The Sith Finder or the Sith, whatever it's called. The Sith Finder, so they can get to the planet. It's an interesting piece of filmmaking that they try to do. Once they find out that Palpatine is still alive, they have to try to find the planet so they can outright just kill him, finally. And they figure out that Luke was trying to find a Sith Finder. I think that's what it is. I could be wrong. And eventually they have to go to this planet where it's very nice. It's bright, it's sunny. You got aliens dancing and some nice little children. And it's very peaceful and happy, and everything's so nice. And then other places, especially the planet where the Sith supposedly were created at, it's dark, it's deadly, it's gray, it's evil. We see that at the beginning where Kylo Ren is getting there trying to find out and kill Palpatine that we see in the beginning of the picture. You know, it's all gray and dark and dingy, and dude, boy, it's kind of scary looking too. Now, one of the problems that I did have in this picture is the camaraderie that we're supposed to have with Finn, Poe, and Rey. They're kind of like Luke, Hannah, and Luke, Han, and Leia. That's supposed to be the three. That's what I got. Because when you see the three of them, they're all together now. I think one of the things that they changed from The Last Jedi, because in The Last Jedi, they were all separate. They were all separate, and they weren't all together. And so J.J. Abrams and his writing team with Chris Terrell decided to let's bring them all together right now. Let's not separate them. And it's pretty fascinating to see how they try to get them all back together again and have them all friends and try to build this camaraderie that they had with the original trilogy. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, mainly because they really weren't together when The Force Awakens. They were there. You had just Finn and Rey, and maybe some other scenes with Poe, and they weren't really all together like say with Luke, Han, and Leia. That camaraderie just wasn't there, and they tried to build that camaraderie. Perhaps they thought we make them all together, but it's really not there because, to me, it was never created in the first place. And I think that's probably one of the things where The Last Jedi failed, was to create that camaraderie that we saw in the original trilogies. All right, let's get the elephant out of the room now. everyone knows, and it was very sad that Carrie Fisher passed away probably before they even begun filming for The Rise of Skywalker. So they eventually had to use stock footage. I'll call it stock footage, probably from The Force Awakens and some of it through The Last Jedi. And I got to give them credit. It actually turned out to be pretty good. It didn't look funny. It didn't look kind of fake or anything like that. No, obviously, when Ray and when Leia and Ray start hugging, you could tell that's probably an actress because it was a very close scene that had the back of her that looked like Princess Leia or Carrie Fisher. But in the scenes, you could tell that was stuff that was already used from footage from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. But it was very sad. But I do give one of the good things that they did in this picture is her character arc. I thought it was a nice character arc. I thought when she sacrificed herself in order to save Ben, I thought it was a nice way to end her character arc. But there's some other stuff that we have to talk about, though. Now, obviously, seeing Han Solo return as a ghost of Ben Solo's father, I was not surprised by that. It was nice seeing Han's back in the picture, being that this is supposed to be the final saga in Star Wars. So it was nice to see him. I thought he said the right things for Ben to finally come about and return back to Ben instead of being Kylo Ren. So I thought that was a nice scene between him and Adam Driver. Now, of course, I think Adam Driver had the best character arc in the entire show. I like he does a very good job. He can only do what he worked with because I still think the script was weak, but he did a pretty good job. And as far as him trying to live out his grandfather's legacy, once he realized that he was wrong and he was conflicted, he finally decides to go on ahead and return to Ben Kenobi. I mean, not Ben Kenobi, yeah, Ben Solo. So I thought it was a nice character arc for him, and I really enjoyed. He was one of the main things I did like about the movie. His journey, coming, as far as killing his father, trying to get Ray to come over with the dark side with him, and then finally realizing the mistake that he made, and finally it comes over, and it comes back being Ben Solo instead of Kylo Ren. Yeah, it's said that he passed away in the movie. Yes, he does die in the movie. Yeah, he does sacrifice himself. He saves Ray, which I'll talk about later on. And I thought he did the character arc. One of the character arcs in the movie, I enjoyed his character arc the best. As for Poe and Finn, I think they really just were there. They really don't have anything added on to their roles here. They don't really play any significance in the picture. That's one of the problems I had with these two characters. Yes, John Boyega and Oscar Isaacs do what they can with the script that they're given with, but they really don't have anything to do in this picture other than to make joke about each other or Ben can or Finn trying to make sure Ray's okay. There's still this supposedly love connection between he and Ray, but that's never really explored. Then he meets this other girl, not another girl, this girl who was also captured by the Force Order, and she has a designation just like Finn did. There's supposed to be maybe some type of a love connection there, but that never really explored. Again, this is all part of the weak script that we have right here. And like I said, poor Poe really does have nothing to do here. Yeah, and once Princess Leia dies, he's made in charge of the Resistance. He has his weak moment right there, but there's no weight, there's no juice. And again, it's part of the script. It's part of not giving him any type of characterization, mainly because he was good as he was in The Force Awakens. When it comes to The Last Jedi, all that transition is lost, mainly because of The Last Jedi. Now, I will say this. When the Rey character was introduced in The Force Awakens, and we find out that she's Force sensitive, and then we find out later on in The Last Jedi that she's very powerful, I knew for a fact that she's probably the daughter of somebody. Now, of course, obviously, thanks to the people at Disney, we all found out that she has nothing related to do with Skywalker family. And she's not a half sister. She's not this. She's not that. Turns out she's the daughter of she's the granddaughter of Palpatine, which I kind of guessed that probably within probably going about the end of the Force Awakens. When well, she's probably the granddaughter. I say either she's the daughter or she's related to Palpatine. So that aspect of that really didn't surprise me whatsoever. Now, I did kind of like how they've expanded on her training. I like the fact that Leia was training her and she calls her master. I thought that was kind of nice aspect to her. Uh, she has somewhat of a okay character arc. I'm assuming some people were complaining that the fact that she's just too powerful and we did not have the opportunity to see how powerful that she was. Now, I don't know how much time elapses between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, but obviously she's been training on this planet where the Resistance are at, and she's been training for a while, so I guess she's become even more powerful after she left that isolated planet with Luke in The Last Jedi. Now, again, we don't know how much time has passed, but I'm going on the assumption here that a lot of time has elapsed and passed, and that's the reason why she's become more powerful. That's why she can do some of the stuff that she can do now, especially with the healing factor that she does with the snake. I guess you can call it the snake on that planet that they were on. So I guess that's some of the things that she's capable of doing, but we just don't know how much time elapsed. So, but that's my take on it. And now, one of the big problems I have with The Rise of Skywalker is the third act. Now, I love the space battles. The space battles were good. I like the scene where all hope seems to be lost, and all of a sudden we hear Lando Calrissian on the speaker, and all of a sudden we see all the spaceships from the Resistance coming in off of light speed in the focus. It reminded me so much of the third act of Avengers Endgame when Sam Wilson calls up on Captain America's speaker. It says, "On your left, Cap," and then all the heroes have returned. It had that type of a moment, and I was in awe right there. I said, "Oh, now this is going to be excellent," and I enjoyed that part of the third act of The Rise of Skywalker. But then comes the final confrontation between Palpatine and Rey. Boy, did they blew it. Now, I was expecting at least a decent lightsaber fight, because most of the lightsaber fights in this one are dull and lackluster. Now, I like the fact that they continued that little merging scene between Rey and Kylo Ren, because there's one part where they're communicating with the Force, and next thing you know, Kylo Ren takes off her necklace that she got that the kid gave her on the planet, and we have that play out again where they're fighting, where Rey takes her lightsaber, puts it into her back, and then Kylo Ren takes it, where he's back to Ben now. So I like that aspect of it. But again, that's it. He's just going to use Force lightning on her? Lightsaber battle, come on! He's supposed to be the baddest Sith in the galaxy. Use lightsabers, not Force lightning. I'm expecting a decent lightsaber fight. Something on the lines of the Phantom Menace between Qui-Gon Jinn, Ben Kenobi, and Darth Maul. I was expecting that. Or something like the Emperor and Yoda. Or maybe Yoda and Count Dooku. I was expecting some decent lightsaber. But we got, she passes out. And it was a nice callback to all the Jedis, even some of the Jedis that some people don't know about, either from the Clone Wars animated series or from Rebels, the animated series. We get some callbacks from that. We hear Qui-Gon Jinn, we hear Yoda, we hear Ben Kenobi, the younger version, Hugh McGregor, and the older version, Ben Guinness. I forget his name. And it was a nice callback. There's lots of callbacks. I'll talk about those later too. But that's all we get. Force lightning and 2 lightsabers. I wanted a decent lightsaber duel. Or at least have Kylo Ren and Rey battle Darth Sidious or Palpatine in a decent lightsaber battle. That would have been a better, fantastic ending. And we do get some nice Easter eggs. We get to see the Emperor's chair, where we all remember in the Return of the Jedi, where we see Palpatine and Luke. We had the confrontation there. We get to see Luke when actually force spectral loop. There's a scene there that kind of makes up for in the Last Jedi, where in the beginning, where Rey hands Luke his lightsaber and he just simply tosses it away, and she's about to do the same thing. He catches it and tells her this. There's you have to treat this weapon with more respect. That's obviously a slash at the Last Jedi. And of course, there's another callback when Luke raises his X-wing up, but we got the same type of music too, and you can tell that's just a flashback from the Empire Strikes Back when Yoda raises the X-wing out of the swamp, and Luke said he couldn't do it because it's too big, and Yoda just does it with ease, and he's the small guy. So overall, like I said, I was entertained by it. Like I said in my non-spoiler review, I was entertained by it. There's some good things about it, and again, when the main character C-3PO is the best one in the movie, and he's a droid, that lets you know that you really did something wrong here. And all I can say is obviously they were trying to make up for the mistakes that were made in The Last Jedi. From what I understand, Rian Johnson was supposed to have done this movie, but after all the badness, after all the backlash he got, he kicked his ass out the door, and they brought Abrams back to finish up writing this up. And you can tell where some of the stuff was probably changed, and I guess that's the reason why the story is just flat. There's no emotion, there's no juice. That's why all the lightsaber fights are just dull and lackluster. We have a very lackluster ending, and no gigantic lightsaber battle that I thought would have been perfect way to end this film. We do get this nice homage at the end of the picture. Rey returns to Tatooine. She buries Luke and Leia's lifesavers. That's another thing I almost forgot about. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people bitch and moan about when did Leia get trained in the ways of the Force. I'm going on the assumption it probably happened after they beat the Empire and we got the New Republic again, and then I guess Luke thought it would be best for him to train Leia in the ways of the Force. So that's probably the reason why she has her own lightsaber now. That's the best way you can explain it. And so that's my spoiler review of The Rise of Skywalker. I don't know what's going to be the future of the Star Wars after this is done. For I understand, was the worst gross movie of all the Star Wars, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked into any of that, but that's what I've heard. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section below. But what are you going to do? I don't know what's the future for Star Wars now. I have not seen any of the episodes of the Mandalorian. Had to pronounce it right. Yeah, I have not seen any of the episodes of The Mandalorian yet. I don't have Disney Plus. I don't know if I'm going to get that or not. So, but I don't know what the future holds for Star Wars. If they're going to do anything else, any type of side quests or one-offs or anything else like that. It really depends upon what they want to do next in the Star Wars saga. And so that's my opinion for the day, guys. So if you did like it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up because it will does help that a lot. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button, ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put up new videos on this channel. Also, if you have any comments in the comment section about what do you think about Star Wars? What's the future of Star Wars? Did you like this movie? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle like I am? Leave the comments in the comment section below that you can tell me what do you think what needs to happen in the Star Wars saga. Like I said, that's it for the day. I am now be working on my top 10 best and top 10 worst horror movies of 2019. Those are my next two videos coming up. And like I said, I will have a live stream this Saturday, 8 p.m. My guest will be Mark Kratchek from the Spoiler Room podcast. I think I pronounced your name right, Mark. I hope to have another guest soon. I'll let you guys know if I get another guest. But right now, it's just going to be me and Mark at this time. Right now, we'll be talking once again about the Rise of Skywalker. But that's it for today. I'll catch you guys later. I'm out. Peace.